How's it going, y'all? This is Rico, and today I want to step through my mix session for a track titled Loyola by a band called The George. Let's jump into it. Alright, here's the session. Let's I'll play it a little bit here. You get an idea?
I went to a party and I saw Loyola and Father Ignatius of the Jesuit order, and they all spoke Spanish.
All right. So once again, the top-down mixing approach. Up top here is the final print that I sent to the band, but I just use that as a reference to see the entire session quickly when I need to. Right, two bus, again, replicating what I did with the outboard gear. That's the Neve preamps, driving the circuits on those for saturation, weight, and harmonic info. And then a compressor, SSL style compressor, which I have a Stam bus compressor for that, just for glue, and just a little bit more dB, and we can hear it before and after. It's pretty cool, and that's how I mix. I'll mix into that. All right, let's jump into the drums first. Drums are awesome. For this track, Eli was doing a mix of rim clicks that I have here, and then the snare mics that I have below. So I went in and chopped those up accordingly so I could have more dynamic control of what was going on there. So let's hear the shells.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Sounds awesome. Toms sound great. Once again, we're getting a lot of bleed from the other instruments because this was tracked live in a room together. All the backbone of this record was tracked live in a room together at the same time, which was really, really fun. All right. I'm actually pushing the entire shell bus by dB. Let's move down to the kick. That high pass filter. Good bit of compression here. Right. Pushing the low end a good bit. Carving out some 500, some boxiness. And then clipper. Kind of tightening things up, taming that kick transient. And then probably, did a big boost on that kick drum just to get the attack of the beater head against the kick drum there. It's a lot rounder without it. With it, you really get that snap, that crack. Okay. Add the cymbals. Oh yeah. There's the hi-hat. Taking out Mucky Muck. And then compressor, keeping things in place. So that is not all over the place. Ride cymbal, same deal. Got a shelf happening, taking out some 1K there, and then filter. Because these cymbals, we don't need a lot of the low end from the cymbals. For the folks that might not know, cymbals take up a lot of more of the top end, and so we don't want to crowd up any of the lower end of things. Same thing with the overheads. I am taking out a lot of the low end to make room for the actual drum shells themselves. So I don't know if you could tell the difference if you're definitely can if you're on computer speakers, but if you got ear pods or anything like that. Yeah, just making room for everything else. All right. And then just a compressor, kind of kissing the top end. The compressor there is kissing the top end of the overheads, or just the very, the transients at the peaks, transient peaks. There you go. That's what I was looking for. Okay, rooms. And these rooms are awesome because they really add a lot of that mid-range warmth that you hear when you're watching a band play live, and especially if it's like, when I go and watch bands, I put earbuds in, earplugs in, and I'm really able to cut out a lot of the washiness of the room or wherever the band is playing. I can really kind of hear just the immediate sonic response, and so that's what I'm grabbing here from these rooms. It's a close room. I think this was like a stereo omnidirectional microphone that we used. Again, just pulling out what I don't need. And it looks like this one is the pair of Royer 121s that we have in both corners of the room, picking up both amplifiers on either side, and the bass that's down the middle. Looks like I had this delay just kind of on there. I got this distortion. Just kind of make it a little darker. And then just pulling out some 8K. Then everything, then all the shells are going to this arouser. Again, taming transients, keeping things in place, tightening up the bottom end is typically what I look for when I'm working with compressors. Bass guitar. All right, so moving on to bass, and I'm trying to keep reminding myself to stop the Pro Tools session while I'm talking. So I'm going to keep reminding myself to do that. All right, DI. That's just the direct input from the bass. This was an Ampeg DI that we grabbed. So we're splitting the signal there, and then we're miking the bass cab. And I don't recall what mic we used for that, but here's how it sounds. You know, a lot of bleed from the microphones from the, or a lot of bleed from the other instruments into this microphone, which adds the character of the record. And a lot of it the same here with the limiter, keeping everything in place. And then here's this multi-band compressor, keeping the duck in the bass when the kick drum hits. When I bypass it, the kick kind of gets buried a little bit in the low end. So listen to how the kick really pops through. Awesome. All right, here is the percussion stuff. Oh, yeah. And for this, I did not. I chose to not use a reverb. I wanted those percussion instruments more up front. It kind of helps drive the rhythm of the groove. And again, cutting out a bunch of stuff, a bunch of low end that I do not need. Trim. Bringing the dB down a good bit. Let's listen to this. Again, this is Mad Scientist Jackson in there, just ripping, doing what he does. Great rhythm. Okay. Let's move down to the electric guitars. All right, so the bus for that, just a compressor. This compressor right here is a stock Pro Tools compressor. Do not sleep on this compressor. This thing is awesome. Just keeping things in the right spot. Okay, DIs. It looks like I turned them down for this. All right, there's that. when they're both together, the amp and the DI of the guitars, it really pulls out the low end and the top end, which is what we're looking for. Okay, so again, here's just the DI for this. And it looks like for this one, I just left it pretty open. I didn't add an EQ there. I liked how the natural signal of the guitar sounded. And then here's the amp. Doing a filter there. And another thing that I didn't want to be too crazy about with this was the guitar tuning. When they're playing this, it's slightly out of tune, but again, I'm looking for authenticity and character in a live atmosphere, and sometimes it'd be like that. So it wasn't too drastic, but I liked how that sounded. All right, let's move on. The other amp, okay. Filter again, 76. And looks like this mix, I decided not to use the DIs. I just liked the way the amp sounded. So yeah, there's that. Okay, let's look at what we got here. Alright, so here is pretty cool. I got a stereo mic picking up the room of this lead guitar because we did this in post. Sounds awesome. Looks like there's some sort of rotary situation happening there. And the 60 cycle hum from the guitars. I like that a lot with this band. These acoustic guitars, this was a lot of work, for sure. It was hard to keep this. It was hard to keep this consistent. It's like some good guitar playing, for sure. Okay. Rouser. And then just pulling up some top end. And then this EQ, right, taking out the low end, taking out some 500, the boxiness, and then pulling out a little bit of the lower frequencies there to make room for snare, vocal, anything that kind of occupies this frequency back here. And it looks like there was no banjo on this, but I had a master session for this record, so we would do one song and then I would keep it on the same section and then or the same session, and it would just kind of bleed into the next song and they would just start again. So I had all these tracks that I might have just left here from maybe a different tune. And then once it was done, I went back and made multiple sessions for the mix. But when we were there in the studio, we didn't have all the time in the world, so I really wanted to be as efficient as possible. And I wanted to get out of their way. I didn't want to be the guy that had a technical difficulty and couldn't, brought the creative process to a screeching halt. You don't want to be that guy. All right, trust me, you don't want to be that guy. Okay, let's keep moving.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola.
All right, my favorite, I always say this, but the vocals, right? The vocals, after you're done really working on getting all the instrumentals set and sounding good, when it's time for the vocals to step up, that's when the song really comes to life. And super exciting to be a part of. So let's just listen to the vocals.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Okay, so all of my vocals are going to there are these effects, which is going to the outside bus, which is bypassing the band bus, which on this record, besides that EQ, there's not a lot happening on the band bus. Excuse me. But that's what's going on there, so I'll walk through that. And then down here is my main vocals and my backing vocals. So let's go through the mains real quick.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Right, Melodyne just a little bit. You always have to Melodyne just a tad. Trim, pulling down a lot of gain because when we track this into the distressor, which is like the Swiss Army knife of a compressor, and then double compressed it, going into an LA2A, Audioscape LA2A, which I still want one, and I'll make it happen one day. Okay, and then EQ, all right? The vocals is where I really do a lot of additive EQ, pushing the vocal around 200, cutting out a lot of what I don't need. And then again, here's that 3K that...
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Right, that I pull out because I don't like that sound. And then below the main vocal, I have a double, which you could have heard, or you were able to hear when I just did that soloing. Just adding a little bit more dimension to the vocal, right? I'm trying to give it a little bit more width and weight and all of those buzzwords when it comes to main vocal. All right, let's mute this.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Okay, let's see what I used there.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola.
Just a plate reverb. Plate reverbs, you can't go wrong with those.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola.
And then a Valhalla verb here, a vintage verb.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
You can tell immediately how the vocal just kind of sits back a little bit. which is awesome.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola,
All right, there's that.
Loyola, Loyola.
And then here's that reel tape that I use on a lot of things. I like this a lot.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola.
Kind of has like a Chewbacca vibe in the background, which is funny.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
All right. And then I like this a lot. Pulling out some information that I don't need.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Again, just taming frequencies in a couple different ways there. All right, let's go to the verse vocal.
I went to a party and I saw Loyola and Father Ignatius.
Same thing, rinse and repeat. And I like having separate tracks for my verses and my choruses. You can kind of see how I have that laid out. Okay.
Loyola picked a mushroom just for me. Her sleepy face reminds me of the sea. Well, you thought you made the grade of the spiritual hit parade.
Awesome. All right. Let's get to the background vocals. All right. That's muted. Awesome.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Okay, so for this was really cool because it was a great opportunity to get gang vocals, which is more than one person singing at one time on a track. So let's go through how I did this. It looks like I got some close vocals here starting.
Loyola, Loyola, Loyola.
So it's kind of the same thing as the lead vocal, just kind of add that middle ground there, which was awesome. Pulling down some dB and filtering, but I didn't have any of the effects going because I just wanted it to be kind of like a dry thing in the middle, or kind of, it's spread a little bit, but more so in the middle. Okay, so there's that, and let's move down to neat.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Sounds awesome, right? Same thing, filter, and here I'm starting to add, looks like I didn't, but I had it on there. Same thing here. I guess my idea was the same for the main vocal, just kind of having more of like a center element happening, still spread a little bit further, a little wider on either side, but yeah, I just wanted more of the weight of the voice there. Okay, now let's move into these stereo mics.
Loyola, 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 Loyola.
Now for this was cool. I had Jackson and Elijah in the live room on either sides, and I put a stereo omnidirectional large diaphragm condenser microphone in between them. And so what that does is it picks up 360 degrees. So I had, it looks like, let's hear.
Loyola, Loyola,
So it looks like sounds like I had Jackson on the left on this one and Eli on the right, and they were just singing the harmonies. And this is tough because they have to be able to sing it correct, because I'm not going to go in and melodyne that. I can't go in and pitch correct that. So that's what that was. And then this is when I started adding a little bit of verb and a little bit of little delay. And then I had them switch. Or maybe I did the same side twice, and then I had them switch. Yep. Yep, same deal, same deal. And I got this trick from Under Oath's Lost in the Sound of Separation studio videos that they put out when they were working with Matt Goldman at Glow in the Dark. So take that and run with it. Okay, let's see what else we got.
They all spoke Spanish, the superior general, and they play funny music. It was all instrumental.
Awesome. Eli, great musician just in general. Wow. Okay. Treated this like a a main vocal, right? Doing a lot of boosting and certain frequencies here, as you can see, and then filtering out what I don't need. DS.
They all spoke Spanish.
Spoke Spanish, right? I'm trying to pull out all those plosives. Compressor.
Spanish, the superior
just to keep things in place a little easier, and then another de-esser.
The superior general, and they play funny.
Okay, and then some delay. I'm sorry, some reverb. Two different types of reverbs here.
The superior general, and they play funny music.
All right, awesome. So let's hear all of that together. I'm gonna turn all this back on.
And they all spoke Spanish, the superior general, and they played funny music. It was all instrumental. Loyola, 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 Loyola,
Awesome. Okay, maybe the last thing I didn't mention here is I used a different compressor just on all of the acapella. Just to kind of glue everything together a little bit. Okay, cool. The last thing I wanted to show you guys in this session is that I like to grab single hits from the drums. So if I need to go in and enhance, just kidding. If I need to go in and enhance the shells, because when you're tracking drums, especially when you're doing it live like this, when you go and you compress a drum shell or something, you're bringing up the initial signal of the shell, but then you're also bringing up everything else in the room. But if I have just single drum hits like this, right, then I can compress that by itself, and it'll give me more flexibility, right? So I'm not. And the crazy thing is, I don't even think we use. I mean, we didn't use it on this song, but it's always good to grab them Oh yeah, toms sound awesome. And the other thing is that we changed drum shells throughout the recording process. So it wasn't just one kit the whole time. So we were switching out kits. And there's the kick drum. Cool. All right, y'all. So that was my mix review for Loyola. Hope you guys enjoyed it. In the comments section, please let me know what you liked, what you didn't like. And if you want to listen to this band and follow them, I included those socials down below. And if you would like to get in contact with me and work with me in the future, my link is down below as well. All right, have a good one.
Follow all your commitments, or go back to Loyola. Loyola picked a mushroom just for me. Sleepy face from